Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age TV YouTube channel. It talks about all my cars and trucks and motorcycles, and the dogs, the cats. I don't have any cats. And hey, somebody's absent. I just noticed that. Where's the Kiefer dog? Oh my gosh, boy! I tell you what. Good morning, everybody. Good morning there, everybody. Thanks for watching my channel. And boy, it's rough going this morning for me. I just tell you what, man, the GERD has gotten me good this past week. I don't know what's going on. It's like I so beat my own GERD, but yet it's come back to defeat me. And I'm just not going to drink any coffee this morning because it just seems to irritate my throat. But anyways, where is the absent one? And that's the word of the day, absent. Yeah, I thought we'd take that word from the health, from the sickness, and then to being absent, which all kind of flows in with that. And it will Wednesday morning here as I try to get my voice going, so excuse me if I'm coughing and hacking and all that stuff. But wow, what did I tell you yesterday of just heavy downpouring rain? When you got to work out in that stuff, it's the worst. And the traffic's the worst. And there's my neighbor walking his dog right about exactly, because I'm out here a little earlier this morning, so that'll be the nice little dance around the yard for a while for the dogs. But yeah, so here we are on the ongoing conversations. If I was watching my channel, I couldn't get my phone yesterday. This Samsung phone did a software update here a few weeks ago. No, come on back. And it put my photos in a whole new file folder I didn't even know about. Flooded me for going to Best Buy yesterday to buy my dad a new iPad. Hey, Dad, you should be getting your iPad there today. Then I'd be probably buying a new phone. I don't know what the hell. So this young lady, she figured out how to go into my phone and find all these, all these photos and videos. Come on, Bobs, let's go. My voice just sucks. Come on. And delete all my photos and videos because my storage was maxed out. So yesterday it took me forever. I had to use my iPhone to copy the video I made yesterday morning. So if you watch my channel, you'll be like, this is a strange video from the Iceman. Yeah, it's because I couldn't get this phone to upload the video. So it took forever. That video yesterday, the sick conversations, didn't even post until like 4 or 5 o'clock yesterday. So, wow. Come on, dogs. Let's get y'all in and get upstairs as we keep the show going. And for sure, everything's right on target of all my words. The health. Oh my gosh. Over the weekend. You know what's crazy? I mean, Chris, a good friend of mine, and Shannon, they've been sicker as all get out. My good friend Chris, he's got pneumonia. I mean, I have so many people I know right now that are just really, really sick. So something's going on and something's going around, but you just got to keep chugging along, and that's what I'm doing, try to keep my channel active and alive, even though you probably think, man, you sound rough. Yep, I am. I definitely am rough, no doubt about that. And I go to the dentist. I mean, I have canceled the dentist numerous times because of being sick. If I call them today, I think they're going to be like, you're kidding me. There's no way. I don't know. We'll have to see how it kind of all plays out and make that work. But the absent conversations I thought would be really appropriate because when you're sick, what do? You call in and you're absent from work. But I think that we could take that in the car. It's always about the cars. And I think so many could relate with, over the years, the things that seem to be absent from the cars of today that what we used to have in cars no longer exists in the cars today. And one thing I thought was, who remembers the cigarette lighter? Anybody remember that cigarette lighter that was in the car for you to be a smoker, or you were smoking cigarettes or cigars? And so many years ago, they took that out of the car. But for years and years, that was a key accessory to so many people. They even had them on my Harleys. Back in 10 years ago, in my Harley Davidson motorcycles, those had literally a little socket. Maybe there's one over here. That's interesting because I used to have like a dummy socket for that, even up until this generation where they took that away. So for the the car motorhead like me that knows cars, you'd be like, yeah, right. They used to have cigarette lighters in your car with an ashtray. But those days are gone. I know for a fact that there's many, many people that have bought new cars recently, and during the pandemic, it took away a lot of amenities in your car, and I was blown away when I bought this. Excuse me, I told you I'm in bad shape. When I bought this Ford Power Boost, I was blown away that I bought a Ford Power Boost Platinum Edition, and the thing has no massaging seats. And I even ordered a Ford Expedition Platinum Edition, and it comes in and it has no massaging seats. So, and that was a key thing that drove me to the Ford product so many years ago, because I lived behind the wheel of a car all day, and having that massaging seat really helped my lower leg and took the stress off my body from living in these cars all day long, because I just live in vehicles. I mean, I drive 150 miles just about every day of my life, and I'm on road trips. So that was absent from the Platinum package, which is borderline ridiculous. You paid this stupid money for this vehicle, and you don't have that feature. Now, the Platinum here in this truck, this is a 2020, pre-pandemic, so it had the, it could have been during the pandemic, I shouldn't say for sure, it could have been built, but it had the massaging seats. I was taken back about how the new Ford Bronco Wildtrak is so much more expensive, but it doesn't have the things that my 2022 Hot Pepper Red Wildtrak, it had things were absent from it. Things weren't there. So the Hot Pepper Red, I had adaptive cruise control on it. I think I had a heated steering wheel. And when we buy this vehicle, it's actually more money. It doesn't have the adaptive cruise control, doesn't have the heated steering wheel. There's probably something else on there that I'm not even really aware of, but this has the Haas suspension, so I guess that's a little bit more money. But even at that, I showed you my Monroney sticker, and you saw all of that, kind of comparing the vehicles if you watch my channel. And if you go over to electric vehicles, I mean, it's going to be a no-brainer. What's absent here in electric vehicles? You pop the front hood, there's going to be no engine. And that's kind of just cool. I'm out in the field and I work out of this truck, and I'll have the front hood. Yeah, I'm in bad shape. So anybody watch my channel, I'm doing my best to keep it going, man. I hear you probably, just don't make a video. You know what? We'll get through it. So when you raise the hood, you see all my tool bags and all my tools. But instead of walking by a truck that doesn't really, a car fanatic, they're kind of taken back on how the front engine, there's no front engine. Like, where's the engine? It's like, it's an electric truck. So what's absent? Right here. Both vehicles pop the front hood, and there's nothing there. It's just a frunk. That's what they call it. So there's an absence, and a lot more goes with that. If you go to really comparing this truck to this truck, then where's the exhaust pipe? Of course, this truck here, it's absent. Where is the gas fill? Where's the thing here, like on this truck over here, to fill up the truck? It's not here. It's up here. This is your plugins. This is your station to plug in your power supply to charge it. As I pound it to get it open. So, and then if you look here, this is where you have wheel motors on this. This doesn't have that. So that's absent on that vehicle. What else could we say is absent? Well, what's really interesting is if you kind of take the electric vehicle and compare it then to the gas engine, then you'll see a lot of absence in so many aspects, because these new vehicles are putting all the adaptive cruise control, the self-driving features, and of course this truck in many ways is archaic in comparison to that, because this doesn't have the adaptive cruise control. This doesn't have the full self-driving capability. This is just a real basic truck. This is what's absent on this vehicle here is you don't have a lock and tumbler key to actually turn on the ignition. This here, you actually have a key you have to put in the ignition and turn the car on. And if you're the person that's been buying Highline cars for the last 10, 20 years, you'd be like, there's still keyed ignitions? Yeah, that's a fact. There's still keyed ignitions in a lot of vehicles out there that maybe you don't realize that because you haven't been buying you haven't been buying a low model vehicle, because that's usually what it is. Boy, I tell you what, it's supposed to be 50s today, but it's actually kind of cold out here, man. I mean, it really is. So we walk into the shop here. Another day, I was mistaken. I thought my Ford Mustang here had adaptive cruise control. No, it doesn't. That is absent. That's just a dummy plate for the future, or whatever vehicle they were putting this on the assembly line. So the absence of this is no adaptive. This does have the adaptive cruise control. You go into the interior of these cars anymore, and if you want to buy a Hellcat Red Eye, those are now absent. That model there has been removed from Dodge making these cars anymore. So in 2024 and on now, that vehicle specifically is absent from the you going to build one or want to buy one. You can still find them on the lots, but not in 2024. So, and what's interesting on the Hellcat product is in the higher Red Eye motor, what the checkoff list is you can't get a manual transmission. You only get automatic. So that's an absent checkoff when you build the car. Now, if you go for the regular Hellcat, not the higher output setup, you can get a manual transmission, even though during the pandemic, there was a timeout on that from supply issues where you couldn't get a manual transmission. And that's like the whole point is walking over here is you get in this car here, and what is absent? The automatic transmission. But really in today's world, it's more about the absence of manual transmissions. And I've talked about this on my channel. It's only like 4% or something. I mean, the number is so low. It was 2 or 3% of the overall sales of cars in this country that have manual transmissions. So for the most part, the manual transmission is borderline becoming extinct and absent from the vehicles, especially as we get into the electric vehicles. Even though they're making mock-up manual transmissions for electric vehicles to give you more of an interaction feel, but that's a very, 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 the Hyundai Iconic 5 or something like that has that type of setup on it, but that's so minuscule. You go to the motorcycles, and what is absent on one bike to another? Well, one thing is it's the heated seat, heated grips. And actually, I was thinking about this morning. I don't think, it does have a heated seat. Okay, it does. That's great. I just can't remember so many motorcycles. So, but on this motorcycle over here, it would seem it would have been a good idea to put a heated seat on it because it has heated grips, which you can upgrade it to a heated seat, I'm sure of that. But here's your heated grips, little switch here that then shows you on your screen, but there's no heated seat. And when you ride around the cooler months, that little heated seat does you favors. So on the cars, I'm sure many people say today more than ever, you want to go buy a new car, and it sure is a lot of things that are absent from that car that's so expensive, which it really is. If you kind of go through a list and you start putting your options in the car of what comes with it just on a standard kind of base model, it's pretty incredible on how the manufacturers surely, and they've done it for years, this ain't new, but more so today, you go buy a car that's just the cars are so expensive and you're just kind of scratching your head that you don't get the AutoZone heat and air conditioning on your $50,000 car. That truck out there that I just showed you, the race truck, it doesn't have AutoZone heat and air conditioning. It still has the archaic, you got to handle it yourself, which is like for me, that's a $52,000 truck. That's beyond unbelievable. They wouldn't have that. So that's absent from the vehicle when you purchase it. When you go to the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, when I was walking out the house, if you saw the black Jeep Grand Wagoneer, when you want to buy a Wagoneer, and somebody that's not really a motorhead, it kind of gets confusing because if you see a Wagoneer going down the road, you're going to have the assumptions that they're all kind of optioned out the same. But once you go to the dealership and you see that $70,000 Wagoneer, but you hear people are paying $100,000 for them, you're kind of befuddled. But then once you get into it, the Wagoneer comes only with a 5.7 liter motor. You can't get the 6.4, and you can't get the Hurricane in the Wagoneer. But I think that's changing for 2024. So 2023, 2022, 2023, late 2022 was when the Hurricane motors came into the market. But the whole point is, you go option out these cars, and you'll start to see the luxury items and all this really cool stuff that isn't on that vehicle, and it's absent from the actual build of the vehicle. And who hasn't had the story where you order a car and it comes in and you find out that they didn't do it right. They didn't fulfill the order. Who hasn't had these stories? But for me, I'm just blown away at how this all played out with my Dark Horse, because I was very conservative on building my that Ember Blue Dark Horse that I factory ordered, and not realizing really what I ordered. Because if you watch my videos and channels, you'll see that in my eyes, that vehicle just had a very absent look to it. It just had a kind of that absent look of it being unique to its own of a Dark Horse. To me, it looked like a GT Mustang, and just, really just a GT Mustang with some Dark Horse badges on it. So I just wasn't abreast that without the Dark Horse handling package, it's a big difference in how you option the car out. The rear wing, so you don't have this same rear wing. It's absent from the non-Dark Horse handling package. You have the regular looking GT tires and wheels. And then I went for the manual transmission, but I didn't, meaning I ordered an automatic, but then this car had a manual. So it's pretty cool in how this car here actually played out to my advantage. And since the dealer was wanting ADM on it, nobody was wanting to buy it. And I lucked out because it sat there for quite a while. Eventually they let it go with no ADM and made the deal go down and make it all work out, not realizing that I would be owning two Vapor Blue Mustangs. And the kid was so, not so happy. She just didn't think this was the car. But in the end now, this really is her, she really does like this car because of the mods that I've made to the car and changed things, because this now has an H-pipe on it. So the resonator is gone. So that is absent from the car. And the same thing over here at the Gold Rush with me removing the so-called mufflers, resonators, and just coming off the cats and all the way back. Those items are absent, which now gives this car such a more fun factor and that real, feeling that the car is got some nice note to it. And that's the thing. When you get these cars, they don't have a lot of exhaust to them, or the motorcycles, you just have like an absent feeling to them because you're not really hearing that engine and hearing that rumble, which is what drives us all of these vehicles, these ICE vehicles. You love to hear that motor, the exhaust. And gotta get some water over here because I'm running dry on my voice, as you can tell. Yeah, coughing, hacking like you can't believe. Just incredible. I don't know what I did. I really don't. I mean, I would have to say, possibly I really am just sick. I just don't want to accept it. I mean, that's probably where it's going on. I mean, I don't feel well, and I guess, how do you know you're sick, right? So excuse me for all the hacking, coughing. I got to get my water bottle open without it spilling all over me, which, who has that happen to them, right? And these little water bottles, good Lord, this thing's like opening up a bomb, right? So enjoy the scenery. I'm drinking water. Now, as everybody knows, the challenge from the pandemic was a shortage of chips, which were absent in the line of manufacturing. So there was a lot of reasons that a lot of things on these cars, pandemic-built cars, didn't bring all the components that you wanted and were absent, is because on the line, they didn't have enough chips to put these cars together. And it's incredible how many semiconductor chips are in these cars. I mean, it's beyond believable. They're rolling computers. I mean, anymore, for the most part, these vehicles have turned into the computer on four tires and wheels. I think everybody kind of knows that. But that was a challenge for some of these manufacturers because of the absenteeism, which was came from people being so sick and people being scared from going to work and getting the virus. So there was probably the highest rate of absenteeism we've ever seen in modern times in the manufacturing sector, but also in every aspect of all businesses. And right now, the biggest absenteeism is people don't go to work anymore. They remotely work. And if you're following the commercial real estate industry, in some areas of the country, they're in truly challenging times. And it's a lot of havoc going on in that industry because so many people are absent now from driving to an office that now get up and walk out of their bedroom door and walk down the hall and go to their office, or they work in their bedroom or their basement or whatever it may be. But the whole point is all these office buildings have a huge absentee list of tenants, clients, and then what follows with that is the businesses that are absent from these locations as well. So you just go back, now you're going back 4 years. You're going back to 2020 when the pandemic was on our doorstep. So it's hard to believe it's going to be 4 years when that whole pandemic came in. And boy, did it get quiet? Did everything disappear? Everything became absent in so many ways. But the irony is, for the car industry, I talk about it all the time. Car industry, the motorcycle industry, boat industry, RV industry, they all thought they were going to have very an absent customers. And how wrong were they? They had so many freaking customers. It was beyond believable. Their challenge was to get people to work because of the virus. And in so many aspects, their challenge was to get the manufacturers to build stuff as fast as possible. But they had an absentee problem. And what's that problem? That's the number one problem in any business is absenteeism. People don't show up to work. Everybody knows whether you own your own company or you work for a company. And for me, so many years ago when I worked in the oil industry, I did multiple tasks. I was a sales guy, I was a manager guy, I was a maintenance guy, I was a truck driver guy. And so many times people would call in and I come in, and so the owner knew I knew how to drive a tanker truck. So I spent many days of living behind the wheel of a tanker truck because of others' absenteeism. And it was a constant challenge. And that's the number one challenge of any small business. You'll hear somebody say is keeping people employed and then people showing up to work on a regular basis of them having family issues, sick issues, personal issues. The list goes on and on and on. And it's a huge challenge in any business, any country, of getting people to come to work on a regular basis. People all know that. Another thing that became absentee was your voting. So that's a whole nother argument and conversation that gets very political and gets very sideways. But we all know that because of the pandemic, they created look at the dark horse in there. Even for me, it's just kind of so many cars. It's just even the fine details of what you see when you're walking around. You had the absentee voting, which so many people feel was wrong. That people not having to be present to vote was one reason why the country was such in disarray of the believability of how the election turned out, with Donald Trump being removed from office and Joe Biden taking over the office. And now it's 4 years later, and what is the constant talk as Trump is most likely to be the candidate for GOP, and he's going to probably be absent from many things as he's sitting in court, as he's going through all these trials that are trying to get him not to run for the president. As today in Iowa, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis will have their little bout to maybe be the GOP front runner and pick. It'll be very interesting. I talked about this yesterday and how and who's been absent from every one of these presidential debates. Donald Trump. He's been absent for every one of them. And even though he's been absent, he's still the front runner of being the guy that gets nominated to run for the president, which it'll be a rematch of Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Yippee yahoo, right? And so, so yesterday, I don't know if you're following or not, so Jack Smith downtown with the D.C. District Court trying to present that Donald Trump is part of the insurrection and he should be tried as a criminal in so many ways. And the judges are siding with Jack Smith. So this, for the moment, Donald Trump's not gaining any traction going to court on him trying not to be part of that January 6th, what they call the riot day, the insurrection day. And in other states like Colorado and Maine are trying to keep him off the ballot because they think he's an insurrectionist, even though the 14th Amendment was written and the 14th Amendment 3, whatever they call it, addresses that from like the 1868 after Civil War of how they would handle participants of the Civil War that did things in so many ways that was insurrectionists, but would they still be able to be a political figure because of it was a war time and it was a different type of circumstances, but would they be banned from being a political figure anymore? And that's what's going on right now. The states are trying to use that to get Donald Trump off the ballot, to make it so he can't be a candidate in those select states. And if they succeed on that, then you think some other states will maybe try to take the same route. Maybe. Very debatable on that as time progresses. And it goes into the July. Even if Trump was to be, per se, persecuted, convicted, whatever you want to say, if he was to be reelected president, he would be under his president's term when all this stuff would start to play out. Which then do you have an absentee president? There's a guy up here driving around circles in a big work truck, and I don't know what he's doing today, but he's like lost. So kind of interesting. And so for that, so that's the thing about Donald Trump coming into his presidency. It'll be never-ending absenteeism, possibly for him having to be in the courts. But now here's what's the guy, Austin Lloyd or whoever, the defense, the Department of Defense Secretary. He was absent from his position because of his prostate cancer, which wasn't disclosed until just here the other day. Is it Lloyd Austin? It's just too many names. Just too many names, too many political figures, and it's all about the agenda of one party wanting to make the other party mad. That's all it is. And so that's the thing. Who's going to go vote? Or are you going to be absentee? A lot of people are so frustrated with all this malarkey going on. I think some people are just going to be absent from all this stuff. They just feel like, who doesn't get to that point? Some days, do you not go to work just because of all the chaos that's going on around you? In some ways, in your relationship, you want to just be absent from the family because of all of the chaos and all the drama that's going on. Who doesn't know these stories? Who doesn't want to be absent from having to get up in the morning and drive to work in the brutal traffic and then take on your brutal job of having to drive around all day in the traffic? I think sometimes people are just like, you know what? I just want to be absent. I just don't want to be there. I just want to disappear for a while. Yeah, that's a huge problem. And it's a really big problem where it goes into the use of drugs, homelessness. But here's the thing. How many people are absent from the illegal immigration from their countries? Think about the absenteeism of other countries, people that are coming here. So what's interesting is, what's the absenteeism of our country people leaving here in the droves to go somewhere else? Does anybody even know the number? I don't know the number. I don't think it'd be much. Do you hear, are we witnessing in Europe or South America, Africa, Canada, Mexico, of droves of U.S. citizens leaving this country to go to another country? Think it through. But again, in these other countries, the absenteeism is through the roof of citizens that have fled their countries. And why? And so then, as we know, it goes to the agendas of they've come here to get a better life. But when they're coming here to get a better life, who's paying for their better life? And don't get me wrong, I'm not against people coming to our country. I think most here would all agree. That's not the challenge. Challenge is bringing people in here through the system that makes sense on how to make it all work without it just being in chaos, which in so many ways. But really, I think what more and more people are concerned about is that it's people are coming to this country with intentions to do bad things to this country. I think that's more so what's concerning, is that we're seeing way too many people come here and they're flying under the radar. And so here, this is truth of what happened here locally for me in my own backyard. The local gun store has absentee guns down the store. Just this past weekend, 4 individuals drove a Hyundai car into the front doors, went through, busted through the front doors of the car, and then they went inside and they cleaned house on all these the store's guns. What's that all about? You have to say to yourself, what's that all about? I mean, and wow, so you have to think to yourself, is that the future home invasion? I mean, why is everybody going out and buying guns more than ever? Because they feel that there's an emptiness of law and order in our country more than ever. I mean, who wouldn't agree with that? I mean, more than ever, wouldn't you have to feel like for the police? I mean, it is a known fact. Right now in San Francisco, they're paying $112,000 for a entry-level police officer position. You just hear that? They're paying $112,000 in San Francisco to lure people in. Now, of course, San Francisco is very expensive to live, so it's not like that's a gazillion dollars, but it's a very high income. And they're even offering like a $75,000 bonus for you to become a police officer, with the understanding that if you quit within 5 years, you have to pay back prorated whatever you took and how long you stayed. Wow. So more than ever in New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, the cities are challenged more than ever of enticing people to take on LEO positions, police law enforcement positions, because of the emptiness of the support by the political figures of our country that hire DAs that don't support the police like they used to. And they've raised all the laws and crimes to higher levels where criminals can do much more damage now than ever before and not be, persecuted. So there's the jail whole. You have to say to yourself, is the goal to empty the jails? In so many ways, yes. Yeah, you have to say that, are the jails emptier today than they were 10, 20 years ago? Some ways, I would say probably are. I'm sure a lot of people that rely on government assistance and help feel they have a absence because of the illegals coming in and taking away the monies that the cities need to take care of their own, or having to be resourced now to some of these illegals that require help and assistance that are draining the bank account. Yeah, what's the absence of money in your bank account? Who doesn't know that feeling when you open up your checking book or your bank account and you're overdrawn? The absence of all your money. Where'd all that go? How does that feel, right? You can take it to the absence of you not actually having a job. The absence of you not having a relationship because of the challenges of being in a relationship. I mean, so there's a lot of absentee, a lot of that talk. Tough day to make a video. You're hearing my voice. I'm going to kind of leave it at that. I can get to the dentist. They'll probably kick me out of the office. Be like, dude, you're sick. I'm like, no, I'm not. So, yeah, right. So, anyways, kind of leave it at that. And the shorter video, people probably like the shorter videos. And just trying to keep the conversations going. And you have to look at my face the whole time. And I'm getting tired of talking. Hey, that's amazing, right? You're getting tired of talking? So I got to get things in order, get out of here to go to work today and take care of problems. And yeah, would I rather just sit home and take the absenteeism or absentee day? I would. But when you own your own company, it doesn't work that way. It's not, tell people all the time, you're your best, worst employee when you own a business. And that's just the way it is. So anyways, hey everybody, thanks so much for watching my channel. And be safe out there. Try not to get sick. Keep the conversations going from health, sickness, to absence. And there you go. So try to keep it going. And always really appreciate all the support. show the channel. And no adventures today. Just yeah, just too much going on. And it's all about the health is your wealth. So once again, thanks for watching. God bless. Stay tuned. Stay safe.